Your phone, your laptop, your tablet. None of them were built to play music. And if that's what you're using as your main source, you're not actually hearing your system. People spend thousands on amplifiers, DACs, headphones, speakers, and then feed the whole chain from a device that's running background apps, pulling Wi-Fi, and generating electrical noise the entire time. The source is the foundation of your signal chain, and most people are building on sand. Every piece of gear downstream from your source can only work with what it's given. If you're sending a compromised signal from the start, it doesn't matter how good the rest of your chain is. You'll never actually hear what it's truly capable of. Reason 1, data hygiene. Think about how we got here. 15, 20 years ago, if you wanted to listen to your music digitally, you ripped your CDs onto your computer, maybe organized them in iTunes, and that was your setup. Your computer was your music server, whether you thought of it that way or not. Then streaming came along and changed everything. Suddenly, you didn't need to own files at all. Tidal, Spotify, Qobuz, Apple Music, millions of songs instantly available, no hard drives required. But while everyone was celebrating convenience, the hi-fi industry realized a gap in the market. People were spending money on DACs, amplifiers, cables, speakers, and then feeding the entire chain from a phone or laptop. And honestly, we see this constantly at Moon Audio. We help a lot of customers build out their systems, and one of the most common conversations we have goes a little something like this. Someone has invested in a great DAC. They've got a solid amp, a nice pair of speakers or headphones, but they tell us that something feels off. The music is fine, but it could be better. We walk them through the entire signal chain, cables, DAC settings, amplifier pairings, and almost every time we land on the same question. What are you streaming from? It's a mixed bag. A laptop, a desktop, a phone plugged into a USB port, a general purpose computer running Tidal in one window, and 15 other things in the background. But here's the problem. Today, your phone and laptop are doing more in the background than ever before. They're pulling 5G and Wi-Fi 7 networks, running background AI processes, syncing cloud services, pushing notifications, managing Bluetooth connections, all of it constantly. Every one of those tasks generates electrical noise though, and that noise bleeds directly into your audio signal. Your computer wasn't designed to be electrically quiet. I think we all know that. It was designed to multitask, meet your needs in a flash. Audio playback is just one small job in a very long list, and everything running alongside it is just polluting your signal path, disrupting your listening experience whether you notice it or not. A dedicated music streamer acts as a specialist. It strips away all of that and focuses on a single task. High-quality streamers use isolated power supplies and caching systems that load music into memory before playback. The audio circuitry isn't fighting for resources. So what you get is a cleaner, quieter signal from the very first step in your chain. Now, some of you are probably thinking, my computer sounds perfectly fine to me. And it might. But here's what changes when you move to a dedicated streamer. It's not that something gets added, it's that things disappear. The noise floor drops away, that low-level haze that you didn't even realize was there in the first place, gone. Suddenly the recording has room to breathe. Micro details, decay on notes, the texture of a voice is noticed. Things that were always in the recording but were being masked by all that electrical interference finally come to light. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And going back to your laptop or smartphone feels like putting a blanket over your speakers, a damper on your listening experience. Reason 2, clocking and jitter. Now here's something worth remembering. Your source component can play an important role in overall sound quality. The DAC does a lot of the heavy lifting, but the quality of the streaming, clocking, and transport hardware in the source device can still matter more than many people think. So why does that matter? When your device sends a digital audio signal to your DAC, the timing of that data transfer has to be incredibly precise. When the timing is off, even by a microscopic amount, you get jitter. Jitter is a tiny timing variation in a digital audio clock. In poorly controlled systems, it can contribute to distortion or subtle loss of focus, and listeners may perceive that as reduced clarity or just a less cohesive soundstage. Your laptop doesn't have a dedicated audio clock in it. It uses a general purpose system clock that's shared across every process the computer is running. A dedicated music streamer uses precision internal clocks. Sometimes they're crystal oscillators, sometimes even higher grade OCXO clocks and reference level units, but regardless of the type, these clocks are built for audio timing accuracy. The difference can be subtle, but for some listeners, it's the kind of thing that separates a good recording from one that feels uncannily lifelike and immersive. High-res downloads can be played back bit perfectly, and when you're using a dedicated player with a stable clock and clean signal path, you can preserve that data with minimal distortion. You're hearing the recording exactly as it was mastered. Streaming can still sound excellent, but locally stored files often give listeners more control over the playback chain, which is why critical listeners sometimes prefer them. Reason 3, intentional listening. So we've talked about electrical noise and we've talked about clocking precision, but there's a side that has nothing to do with what's happening inside the hardware. It's about what's happening to you while you're listening. Think about it. When your phone is your streamer, you're tethered to it. Maybe it's not a physical tether, but when someone calls, your music stops. A notification pops up, your focus breaks. Your laptop battery dies mid-song. You're not just using a device to play music, you're sharing it with everything else in your life. And that definitely changes the way you listen. A dedicated streamer takes your phone and laptop completely out of the playback equation. The music runs independently on a device that has one job. You'll still use your phone or tablet to browse your library and control playback, so it's not entirely gone, but it's out of the signal chain. Most streamers use proprietary software that you'll download onto your phone, tablet, or computer to control that streaming experience. But the actual audio stream is handled by the hardware that isn't going to interrupt you, overheat, or run out of battery. And that switch alone changes the psychology of how we listen. When you sit down with a dedicated source, the session feels intentional. It's not background music while you scroll, unless you want it to be. Listening to music becomes an event again. You know, the way that it used to feel when you would pull a record off the shelf, drop the needle, and you sat down to listen. The shift from passive playback to intentional listening is something that no spec sheet can ever capture, but it might be the most compelling reason to make the switch. So now the question is, which streamer should I buy? The market does make it confusing with 100 different names for the same product. I'm going to break it down for you really simple, covering the 3 main types that you'll likely encounter: a music streamer, a music server, and a streamer-server combo. A music streamer is a device that connects to your network and plays music from streaming services like Tidal, Qobuz, or Spotify. A music server stores your digital music collection locally, your ripped CDs, purchased high-res downloads, and it plays them back to you. The big difference here, music servers focus on local file playback, while streamers access cloud-based services. Then you have the combo unit that streams from services and also stores and manages your personal library. This is where most of the market is heading because most listeners want to access streaming services and a place to keep the files that they already own. We carry a wide selection of all 3 types, so many that I would have to dedicate an entire video just to showcase them all. So instead of doing that, I picked out 4 incredible options, each built for a different type of listener at various stages in their hi-fi journey. If you're stepping into dedicated streaming hardware, or you want a plug-and-play solution that doesn't require building a stack of separate components, the Bluesound Node icon is your gateway. This is a streamer with a built-in DAC, so you don't need to own a separate one. It uses a dual mono DAC design, 1 chip dedicated to each channel, meaning lower crosstalk and a cleaner sound. It also features a built-in headphone amplifier with 2 1/4-inch jacks on either side, which is a great perk for headphone listeners or anybody who doesn't already have a dedicated headphone amp. It connects to over 20 streaming services using the dedicated BlueOS controller app, which is phenomenal, easy to use, and extremely intuitive. You also get multi-room playback capabilities, which is super cool, so you can add more Bluesound devices and use the Node icon as your hub down the line. Add the range of connectivity options, including HDMI eARC, balanced XLR outputs, analog RCA, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth, and there's not much that the Node icon can't do. The Node icon is a perfect option for someone who wants everything in one compact unit: streaming, DAC, headphone amp, all in one place. Now, if you're ready to step into reference level territory, take a look at the Wattson Audio Madison Streamer. This is a unit focused on performance, getting you from point A to point B in the simplest way possible. You've got a built-in powerful DAC in dual differential mode, a headphone amplifier with a 1/4-inch jack, and balanced and single-ended outputs for seamless integration with power amps, preamps, or integrated amps. Just like the Node icon, the Madison uses Wattson Audio's proprietary software, Wattson Music, to control your streaming experience. You've got access to the usual suspects: Tidal, Qobuz, Audiophile, Spotify, just to name a few. A lot of people, though, they get caught up in having a unit with a display screen. But does it really matter when you'll be using your phone or your tablet to access the music anyways? Probably not. The Madison is built for the listener who values sonic refinement above all else. Someone who wants a compact, well-engineered streamer that delivers top-of-the-line performance and doesn't get caught up on the fancy frills and features of a display screen. Now, if you're looking to add your personal library into the mix, this next option is for you. The Matrix Audio TS1 checks all the boxes of the first two units: streaming, DAC, headphone amp, and adds internal storage to the list. You've got a true dual mono DAC stage, a balanced discrete headphone amplifier with both 1/4 inch and 4.4mm outputs, and streaming through the MA remote app. Where the TS1 really separates itself, though, is in clocking and storage. It runs dual femtosecond clocks, and on the bottom of the unit sits an NVMe SSD slot where you can install up to 8 terabytes of internal storage. That means you can store your entire high-res music library locally and play it back through purpose-built hardware with precision timing. The TS1 is designed as a multi-scenario audio center with 5 input interfaces: optical, coax, USB audio, HDMI ARC, and RCA analog. So whether you're streaming, watching TV, connecting a turntable's phono stage, or sitting at a desktop, it can be the hub of your entire setup. You can even rip CDs by connecting a USB CD drive through the app. The TS1 is best for the listener who wants a single device that does everything: streaming, local file storage, DAC, headphone amp. And it does it all with engineering that doesn't cut corners. If you're building a desktop system, simplifying a living room setup, or you just want one component that handles it all at a high level, this is the one. And then there's the Matrix Audio TT1. And this is for the audiophile who already has an established setup and they just want to take their source to the next level. The TT1 is a pure digital transport, meaning no internal DAC, no analog outputs, and no headphone amplifier. Every bit of engineering is focused on one thing: delivering the cleanest, most precisely timed digital signal possible to your external DAC. It runs on the same streaming hardware platform as Matrix's flagship M series and features the same dual femtosecond clocks as the TS1. But because the TT1 doesn't need to share resources with a DAC stage or headphone amplifier, all of that engineering is devoted entirely to the transport function. It connects via Ethernet or Wi-Fi 6, supports Tidal, Qobuz, Spotify, AirPlay 2, and is room ready, and like the TS1, you can mount a NAS drive, access cloud storage, or install an NVMe SSD for up to 8 terabytes of local storage. The TT1 is best for the listener who already owns a DAC they love, and all you're missing is that dedicated transport that genuinely elevates what your DAC is already capable of. It's a focused, no-compromise source component for systems where every link in the chain has been carefully chosen and executed. If there's anything you take away from this video, let it be this: at the end of the day, your source matters. It doesn't matter if you've invested hundreds or tens of thousands into your system. If the signal starts compromised, everything downstream is working with less than it deserves. The good news is, there's a music streamer for every listener. Whether you're getting started without a single piece of gear in your arsenal, or you're finally ready to take that step into reference level territory and all you're missing is the final piece to the puzzle, the upgrade from a general purpose device to a dedicated music streamer is one of the most impactful choices you can make. And if you want a deeper look at the Matrix Audio lineup specifically, watch this video next. We dive more into the TS1, TT1, and how they compare to the rest of the Matrix streaming family. 5 models, 1 video, it's all right here. Check it out, and we'll see you next time.